Welcome to another video
of Understanding Technology
with Christian Trujillo. Hello everyone, and thank you for watching this video. My name is Christian Trujillo. I'm one of the solutions architects here at GST. I know some of you know me, but maybe we have new team members that just joined, so just wanted to do an introduction. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about servers and storage. We will be discussing the high-level overview of what these are, what are the functions, and just so that we can understand better at a high level. Let's get started with servers. I'm going to use an analogy to be able to describe servers. Let's say you have a restaurant, and this restaurant only has 2 or maybe 3 tables. In this restaurant, there's only one waiter who takes orders from the people that come in and try to order food and so on and so forth. I will say that one waiter will be enough for this restaurant because there's only 3 tables. So the demands, the requests from the customers aren't going to be as much as if you were to have more tables. But let's say this restaurant gets really popular and it grows and it grows, right? Now you're going to have 5 tables or maybe 10 tables in this restaurant. One waiter may not be enough for this, because there's going to be a lot of requests that come in, a lot of food that people are going to be eating, a lot of things that are going to be happening here in this restaurant. So you will probably need 2 or 3 more waiters so that you can balance the workload across the different tables. So a server is very similar to that. That's kind of the function of the server. The server in a environment for our customers' network is one that will be serving requests from all their computers, from applications such as mail, such as other internal applications, and any other computer from end users like you and I that will be requesting certain things from the server. Maybe files, maybe we store files on the server, maybe we're sending and receiving emails, so on and so forth. So that is kind of the function of the server. So as the requests for this type of services grows in an environment, so as we have more and more people requesting things from a server, then it gets to a point where it needs to grow. Or maybe the server that they currently have is not fast enough to be able to serve at a fast pace. That's kind of like just a high level understanding of the servers. Let's go into the components of the servers and let's talk about the different parts, hardware wise, of a server. First, let's define the different types of hardware servers that there are. There are servers that are maybe tower servers that you've seen, kind of like almost like a desktop type, right? But that one can be a server. There are 1U and 2U servers. There is also the blade systems, which is a chassis that contains multiple servers inside it. So it's just one big chassis with multiple blade servers inside it. So those are the different type of servers that there are physically. Now these servers, they all have this type of components. They have RAM. A RAM is basically, let's think of it this way. When you're reading a book, you are opening a page and you're reading that page. As you're reading that book, you're retaining that information. However, the moment you close that book, if I was to ask you, can you tell me exactly what the page said from beginning to end? More than likely, you will not remember every single word in that page, right? So you would be maybe just telling me things here and there, but you won't be able to tell me everything that page said. So memory RAM is like that. It allows the server to retain information for a very short period of time. So it's very, very short period of time that the server is going to retain the information. There is also components such as the CPU. And the CPU is basically what allows the server to multitask. It's like our brain. You are right now listening to this video, as you are watching it, as you are maybe drinking your coffee, maybe somebody passed by and you're looking at that person, or reading something at the same time. I mean, we're multitasking, right? So in a server, the CPU is basically that. It allows you to multitask, it allows it to do multiple things at the same time, and it allows it to do it fast. Now, there is also another component, which is the network card. The way I explain this is we understand and speak English, so we can understand each other. So that allows us to transfer information back and forth because we speak the same language. So we can talk to many different people, sometimes a group of people at the same time, sometimes individually, but we're transferring information. A network card in a server is like that. It's the media that allows it to communicate with other servers in the network or outside the network, individually or at a broadcast level. So that will be the network card. Now the power supply, of course, you probably already know this, but this is what gives power to the devices or the hardware inside the server. Now there's another component called the hard drive. We talked about the RAM, which it allows the server to store information for a short period of time. Now the RAM is basically the bookshelf. As you're reading that book, you want to refer to it back, so then you put it on a bookshelf. You know exactly what it is. You know in what shelf that book is going to be placed at. So if you want to reference anything later in the future, you can always go and grab that book and read back that page that we talked about. So it's just like that. The hard drive is the bookshelf that allows you to store data for long periods of time or until you decide to delete it. So that's the long-term storage in the server. All right, so that's high level and overview of what a server does, the function that it provides, and the different components of a server. As you guys will see in different corporations, and we go to visit customers or you start having conversations with customers, it's good to understand their environment. It's good to understand how many of these servers they currently have and how much demand they are having in their environments, so that we can approach a sale perhaps or a solution at a much grander and much accurate way. So now let's talk about storage. And again, this is high-level overview. You've probably seen this, which is type of storage. But if you compare it with this, which is another type of hardware, which is a server, you can say, well, they look the same. In reality, they do look the same physically, right? Because they all have a lot of drives and it's same form factor, but they have different functions. The server, we talked about how it provides functions within the environment of our customer's network, but the storage is what allows the customer to store their information, tons and tons of information, right? Where there is data, videos, pictures, or documents, or whatever it is that they're using for their marketing department, for the sales department, for the applications that they use internally, so on and so forth, databases, so on and so forth. So these big appliances for storage is what allows them to store it for a long period of time. Now, the advantage of this type of storage devices is that you can store this information for a long time and it's redundant and highly available. There is a concept called RAID, and we won't go in detail on that. That might be in a different video, because right now we're just learning the high-level overview. So on the storage side, the idea is that if one hard drive fails, your information is still available, regardless of a hardware failure. If one of those chassis, nodes, or boxes that you can see fails, the idea is that your information will still be available somewhere else. So it replicates the data, it replicates the information from one place to another. So let's go back to our analogy on the bookshelf and the book. So let's say I am storing a lot of books in this bookshelf. So this bookshelf is currently in my house, but you know what? I really, really love these books, right? So I want to be able to access these books regardless of the location that I'm at, or regardless of whether hopefully it never happens, right? But there's an earthquake or a fire or something, and my house burns down, or the bookshelf is no longer available. So I'm going to be making copies of these books and putting them in a different bookshelf somewhere else, maybe in a different state, or maybe in a different location that is more safe and secure. That's the idea as well of storage. It provides that redundancy, that high availability of the information for our customers. Now, there are different components to storage. There is, for example, hard drives, of course, right? So there's a lot of bookshelves on these type of devices that allows the customers to store a lot of information, and these are redundant. There is the type of connectivity, which we talked about also on the servers. Now, the type of connectivity on the storage is a little bit different. It has to be, it takes a little bit of a different language, if you will, from the storage side. But it also, it's important so that it can connect and communicate with the servers that it helps. Now, one thing to keep in mind as we approach customers, as we're trying to help them and provide solutions, it's important that we ask the questions of how much capacity you're looking into getting from this storage device. Due to the fact that storage devices provide high availability and redundancy, sometimes or most of the time, even though you're getting a big amount of drives with a lot of capacity, because it uses RAID by nature, it will reduce the usable capacity because the rest, it makes copies of it, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say I have five bookshelves, okay? And I have 5 bookshelves in different parts of my house. If my room number 1 was to fail, I want to make sure that my books are going to be available on room number 2 and room number 3. So what I will do is I will make copies of my book from room number 1 into room number 2 and also into room number 3, right? So maybe I had 10 shelves on that bookshelf, but because I'm making copies, now I'm reducing that available space to less than 10 shelves, right? Because I'm making copies, so the data is in multiple locations. So that's kind of the idea on the storage RAID at a high level. So it's important to ask these kind of questions to our customers. What kind of usable space are you looking to get versus the raw space? Raw space is basically just the space that you get without creating any redundancy or any high availability. Also, the type of connectivity that they have, Ethernet, fiber channels, so on and so forth, is very important to ask. All right, well, that was it. Short and sweet. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out to us, send us an email, come to our desk, and we'll be more than happy to help you guys out. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Please send me an email if you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback about these or future topics.